Welcome back to Knitting in Our Jeans. I'm Liz.
I'm Carolyn.
And you can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as 2Liz for you, TOOLIZZFORYOU.
And I'm CPREDMOR on Ravelry on Instagram. I'm Knitting in Our Jeans. And we have a whole story about that. Anyway, I just posted my new hydroponics machine.
Oh, you did?
I did.
Oh.
Yes. So I told my husband that I didn't want him buying fresh vegetables in the grocery store. Mainly because I've always wanted to do hydroponics. I've always wanted to do hydroponics. And he's always said, why do you want to do that? They're far cheaper at the grocery store. So now, when
Due to the global pandemic that is out there.
Due to coronavirus. And he's not all that thrilled about things that someone might have coughed over in the grocery store. And he's like this with the flu, too. So
yeah, during flu season, he doesn't like to buy fresh vegetables either.
Bananas are okay because you peel them.
Mm-hmm.
Oranges are okay because you peel them. Why he thinks that blueberries are okay, but he buys them in a box, so maybe that makes them okay?
I don't know.
I don't go
Anyway,
there. I have a new hydroponics machine, and I am excited. Now, whether I'll still be excited 7 to 14 days from now when nothing comes up, that'll be a whole other story.
But we have more that we can try.
We do. I had a total of 7 tomato plants and 7 lettuces.
Things.
Yes, salad things. So I should be able to make a tomato salad in 14 days, or at least think about making a tomato salad in 14 days. I think the fruit has to set for a longer period of time than that. Anyway, so I've been posting. We
did learn that apparently sometimes you can't grow tomatoes in the same unit as other things, so you might have to be getting a second one.
I might, but we'll see. First, we tried this one out, and he was already... I waited a day until my engineer could be here to help me, and then my husband figured out how to really get the light on. So
I didn't want to break it.
We understand that, and so he was fooling around with it and got it really well set up, and then it runs on a 16-hour on and 8-hour off military clock. So while we started it yesterday afternoon, I unplugged it at midnight and then started again this morning. So, and I believe I pushed all the right buttons to get it on a 16-hour schedule. It also has a 14-hour schedule, and I think a 12-hour schedule.
The 12 is for the viewing, so the 14 is for maintenance and for once they are growing and grown, then you can...
I understand that, but we can't tell really which one
is on. Yeah, you can. The brightest one is grow.
Good. Well, then I think I got it.
Good.
Yeah. So anyway, that was a big thing over the weekend, and if you go to the Instagram, you'll see it. And it whirs. Apparently it's circulating the solution, the plant food down below, that Richard said it's not doing anything, and then he heard it turn on. So he says, yeah, it is doing something. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So that's what's new, and that's the Instagram that I use. And yes, I am hand winding a ball of yarn. Started it last night when we were watching Yorkshire Vet. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Which is a very cozy, lovely show about a vet in Yorkshire
England,
who just takes care of animals, great and small.
He, I forgot the name.
James Herriot.
James Herriot is the vet who wrote the books All Creatures Great and Small.
And had the TV show on the BBC.
Right. And this is his vet practice. This is the younger partner in that vet practice. James Herriot is not with us anymore. One of his former partners is a present partner. And
a trainee of James Herriot.
Well, he has been a trainee.
Well, as they keep saying in the show.
Yes. So, and yet he has the same last name as several of the people.
I think it's off by a letter. I looked it up.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, he's of the area, and he's the older partner. And they taking care of everything from iguanas to hamsters to cows and sheep. Goats. We have seen a goat.
We've seen a swan.
We've seen a swan.
And
it's just,
dogs and cats.
It's cute. Yeah, I mean, baby, puppies and kitties and cats and everybody with their own personality. So I started hand winding it at about 2:30 last night because I was too tired to really work on anything that required any brain. So I'm just finishing it up. And if you'll notice, it's the same color as my traveling sweater.
Yes, I was going to say, did we almost get to the end of another? Oh my word, look at you!
So this is how far I've gotten now. I've almost finished another panel. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I have another 5 and 3/4.
Okay.
I have another 11 rows and then a decrease, which you do 4 times to make a panel. So I've got another quarter mini panel to do, and I will have done 6
out of
8. This thing is going to be ginormous.
It's going to be great.
So
I think it'd be really interesting to see this one
together
versus the circle coat you did years ago.
Yes. Because
I think it's a little bit smaller of a...
Well, this blocks out.
Okay.
You have to remember that this is a rib that is fairly... It's not tight, but, it does what ribs do. And you block it to open it up.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, there is the yoke and the sleeves. So I think it may fit better than the other sweater. But who knows?
We'll see.
And yes, I've got... probably a quarter of the ball left. So I thought, well, while I'm sitting there, I will do this. Meanwhile, I knitted so much over the weekend that my hands hurt.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes. I noticed that this morning. So I won't be knitting today, and I may not be knitting tomorrow, but then there is always cross-stitch.
Yes, there is, which you also posted a photo of.
Yes, I did. I showed you 2 pictures, and I will hold it up later. But I had also something that came in the mail that we'll be talking about later. And I probably won't start anything on the rigid heddle. I don't know. A rigid heddle doesn't involve the same muscles that my knitting does. And I certainly have saved the cotton yarns that I have. So I could do that. I could warp up my rigid heddle. And because there was a free pattern on one of the weaving. See, those are weaving newsletters. So I get newsletters from Nordstrom's because of the personal shopping.
Sorry, this is all, the tangent she's about to go on is because she mentioned how many emails she gets in a day, and I was explaining to her that she could unsubscribe from some of these newsletters.
But Hillary writes me.
Oh. Okay.
And sometimes Hillary comes up with some really good suggestions, so I don't want to tell Hillary to go away.
Right.
Hillary Covington is a lovely woman who is, I think, a senior at some college. I'm not making disparaging remarks about the college. She didn't want to tell me what college it was, and I can understand you may not want to be that open with your private information with someone that you're just in a commercial relationship with. I got that. So anyway, I don't want to tell Hillary to go away. There's Bed Bath & Beyond, and I get my coffee through them, so I don't want them to go away. But my God, they're sending emails 4, 9, 20 times a day. So
well, yeah, because that's their
that's their thing. There's only a little bit of news, and then there's just odds and ends. Oh, and I still have students that are writing to ask for recommendations and stuff like that. But it adds up, and when you get multiple, like Marriott, I'm not going on a trip anytime soon.
Yep.
But I don't want to tell the Marriott to take a hike, because when we do start taking trips, I want to hear from the Marriott. Marriott's so cute. I think it's finally cottoned on to the fact I'm not going anywhere. So now it wants to tempt me with bed linens.
Oh no, they're just they're trying to keep afloat.
I'm teasing you. But yeah, their bed linens are nice. I sleep very well when we go to the Marriott's, and I need new sheets. So, although the linen ones are nice, yes, I may buy some linen ones. Not tell your father, and let him lay on them and see what he thinks. He may not like them. Oh well.
He may not.
He may not.
Oh well.
There is something about a crisp cotton sheet, though.
I really like the linen has grown on me.
The linen you like, but there's variety. So anyway, I have something that came in the mail about weaving.
Mm-hmm.
I have a magazine, and then I have my pig. What would you?
Well,
would you like
I
to talk
finished
about something.
Did
you?
I did.
Oh, let me see.
I finished my pull me over. It looks like it doesn't fit, but I promise it fits. I tried it on.
Well, it's that ribbing.
It's the ribbing.
That's gorgeous.
So I finished it. I put the little cap sleeves on it. I'll weave in the ends.
No, I'm looking at the yarn. It's DK.
Big Apple, yeah. DK, Big Apple. It was about 700 yards. I used 2.5 balls of Traveler from Dragonfly Fibers.
Right.
So yeah, I'm really excited about that. I think I'm going to send it through the washer and dryer, and then I will, to get all the... not
ice water.
Not necessarily to block it, but in order to just let everything settle into where it's going to be. Mm-hmm. And then I will weave in the ends. So that is the sweater done. And
it's a hot day today.
It's really hot.
I went out and walked at 8 o'clock this morning.
I'm very proud of you.
I was schwitzing like crazy when I got back, but I'm glad I did it at 8 a.m. because I find I don't do it after dinner.
No.
I also get bitten by mosquitoes a lot, so I find that 7 to 8 a.m. is a really good time. And no one's out, except I met one woman today with her dog. Mm. Cute little dog, a yappy dog, who thinks he's a German Shepherd, I think.
But he's a Pekingese?
This big. And so she picked him very nicely. She picked him up as I started to walk by because apparently he runs after people.
He's a ferocious
he's not
protector.
Much bigger than a football. So, but in his own mind, he's a Saint Bernard. So, or a Great Dane or something.
So yes. I have finished the body and the neckline of my test knit.
I love that.
It's so pretty. I have been procrastinating doing the sleeves.
Okay.
I have. I will fully and readily admit that.
Well, I've been procrastinating about my design class. I was so excited about the design class. But now I'm done with Harry Potter, so I can do that.
So I have to wind up another skein of yarn, my last skein of this yarn, because I only have this much left of that second ball. So I don't think I can do sleeves in that. No, so I'll wind this up. Yeah. Oh no, I have plenty. So I'll wind this up, and then we will do the sleeves. I'm hoping today to borrow your computer and to write up my initial thoughts on the body and neckline things because
there's some changes.
Well, that and also so apparently in Finn it's knit and purl is right and wrong, or translates to right and wrong. Mm-hmm. So I did point that out to her. I texted her or messaged her on Instagram about that. But I think it'll look really good. I don't think I've put it on since I did the neckline. But it's really beautiful and it's just gorgeous.
I really like the colors you chose.
Thank you.
I never would pick anything that subtle.
I don't think it's subtle though. It's
me, I would have like a fuchsia.
Oh yeah.
That's subtle.
Oh, okay.
Compared to me.
So I've been working on that.
What is it that you're knitting?
Well, hold on.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. I haven't brought this by in a while. So this is my Nebbia. And I finally got up to...
I would have put that in the gray. See?
Huh? Oh, you would have put this?
Yes.
Oh. I didn't have enough to do something like that.
All right.
So
that's really pretty.
Thanks. So I have now done the second stripe set, and now I will knit with this blue until I hit something like 20 inches or something total. So another something like that. I don't exactly remember. This is my project for when I'm on vestry calls for the church.
Well, you can get a lot done.
Well, I think I had through here done in February when we started, and so I've just been knitting. Everyone finds it very amusing because I have
a glass of wine?
Yes.
You're knitting?
I have a glass of wine and my knitting, and also because we now knit through church, because it's on Zoom. And it keeps our hands busy. So they're always like, you and your mom are just going right along there. And I'm like, yeah, and they're like, well, are you working on the same thing? No, this is a vestry call. I'm working on my vestry project. And they're like, you have a specific... And I'm like, yes, I do. Mostly because this is going to be a lot of just stockinette. and
Right,
it
so
is
it's
just a lot
easy.
of stockinette.
It is easy.
And it's on size 3s.
That's a favorite. Well, 3s and 4s and 5s.
I like 4, 5, 6,
Ah.
and up. I'm not a big fan of 3s. But as discussed previously, this is being knit at a smaller gauge, larger. I have the same amount of stitches as I'm knitting for the small size, because there are 2 sizes, I think, or 3 sizes. I'm knitting the small size, which should give me like a 60-inch bust, because it has a lot of ease. And I think I figured out that at the gauge that I'm knitting at, I'll actually have something like a 50 or a 54, something like that. So I'm cutting out a lot.
Yeah.
But it's also because I really like the gauge that I'm getting with it.
Yeah.
It's a really nice drape, but it also has enough body that it'll
be
really nice to wear.
Yes. Very nice.
And again, this is with Verdant Griffin colors that I had in my stash, and I have more of the blue. I found someone who would sell me a skein of the blue so that I could have enough to use that as the first color, I think is what it's called. I don't know. Whatever. Good. But I'm really excited about that I got to that next block of color.
What is it that you're wearing? So
I'm wearing my Drift. It's the Drift. I don't remember who it's by, but Tanya made it and didn't want it anymore. So
lovely.
She gave it to me.
Very nice.
Yep. So since I finished the Pull Me Over, I brought yarn to swatch for my Aunt Fred. But it was late last night.
It was late.
And, I mean, it wasn't very late when I casted it on. Or when I, finished it. I finished it probably around 10.
Oh, no, that wasn't late.
So, I was, trying to figure out if I wanted to cast on the swatch for this, or if I wanted to cast on the Engle by Caitlin Hunter. Because I've wanted to make that for months and months. And I've had the yarn picked out. I've been carrying the yarn in my project bag. In my, my project bag of project bags. My carry-all, essentially. And so last night I said screw it, and I cast it on. So it's in mohair. It calls for Surrey alpaca, but I don't have Surrey alpaca. So the gauge stated is 3 stitches per inch. I'm knitting it at about 5.5 stitches per inch because I like the fabric better. Also because mohair doesn't have the same halo that Surrey does.
Right.
Surrey has a much larger...
less see-through.
Well, it has more fuzz. I mean, I have some Surrey.
But in other words, it fills in more in between the stitches, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Yeah, so
and
the
depending
Surrey...
on the coverage you want from your garment.
Yeah, so this is the Surrey. So you can see that's a lot more fluff-tastic than the mohair.
Yes.
So you can get the 3 stitches nicely from that. But I'm not using that. I'm using mohair. So I am doing I think I'm doing the size 7 due to the fact that I have more stitches on my needle, more stitches per inch. So I did the math to figure out what size I would have to knit in order to get
a good size for
me. So I'm knitting the size 7. And this is my first color. I've done the ribbing, I've done the short rows, and now I'm doing the plain rows right before the color work. And
top
then
down.
Top down. Hopefully I will be able to... I'm hoping that the sweater will eventually not have to be held like this on these needles.
Right.
Because I would like it to just fill out, but
I'm sure it will.
I hope it will.
Yeah, you're at a neck at the moment.
Well, yeah, and it was...
You don't want your neck to be like that.
So I think it'll look really good with black or gray or white tank top underneath.
Yeah.
So this is the 1600 pen by Neighborhood Fabric Co.
Nice.
So this is something that is a discontinued colorway. And I'm really glad I'm using it, and I'm really excited for this project.
Great.
But yeah, so that's what I'm working on. It feels silly because it's so floaty.
Well, how much fun is that?
It's fun, but I am looking forward to when it's a little bit more substantial so that it actually feels like something. I also am very curious to see how long this takes me to knit.
All right. That will be interesting.
Because it's a bit potato chippy, but I'm also knitting essentially lace on 7s.
Yes.
So,
whatever.
It might go quicker than we think. But what else? So I'm also going to probably, well, this afternoon I'm thinking, or this evening, I will probably cast on the sleeves of that sweater. And then I will also cast on the swatch for the Aunt Fred, because even though Rhinebeck is canceled, I still want to have Rhinebeck sweaters, because I'm crazy.
Well, I think every sweater I make this summer is a Rhinebeck sweater, because I'm not wearing it until it gets cooler.
Yeah, so I mean, I have a list that I made all the way in the beginning of all this quarantine business.
Did you?
Yes. Well, it was a combination of all the different lists I had from, you know, my different places I had lists. Not my lists from the office, though, because I don't have those right now, and I don't have access to them. So, of course, you know, I had to add that test knit, but I was hoping that I would have the artichoke French done, the Aunt Fred, maybe the pumpkin ale, and then maybe the festival doodle done for this Rhinebeck.
Well, you got the artichoke French done.
I did. And, I mean, I'm knitting a good amount. Both the artichoke French and the pull me over took me 2 weeks each, which is
impressive.
Insane. Also, I mean, they were DK and Aaron weight. They were heavier weight, and I am on furlough still.
Yes.
So, keep that in mind.
A lot of knitting.
Yeah, I'm doing a lot of knitting. I'm also doing a good amount of sewing. I didn't finish the dress that I started last week, so I won't show that to you. But it was very close. I just have to put in the zipper and then do the armhole and neck bindings and the hem facing.
Yeah.
But we'll see about that. That might not happen this week because I have to make masks for my little cousin.
Right. The fabric came in.
It did. You want to see the fabric I got her?
Yes. Sharks.
So she's doing research in sharks and barracudas. And I didn't see any...
It's been Shark Week on the television.
Yes. So there wasn't any barracuda fabric I liked, so I picked up this shark fabric.
She will love it.
It's a bit fuzzy, which is strange. It's not the quilting cotton I was expecting, but you know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna make her probably 2 or 3, maybe even 4 or 5 out of this. As many as I can, I think, just so that, you know,
cute fabric.
It's cute, and it pertains to her research, and you never know how long we're going to be wearing these masks for.
A year.
I know, but I mean...
Are you done?
For now.
Okay, now I get to talk.
What have you been working on?
Thank you. My pig!
So cute.
Yes!
So cute.
So
y'all.
I am not using the clip-on eyes, or they call them safety eyes. I decided that anything that really stands out. Olivia, who likes to put everything in her mouth.
Olivia?
Not Olivia.
Chloe.
This is Olivia. I'm naming my pig Olivia. And so I'm going to be embroidering the eyes and the nose and the mouth, and I've decided I'm going to put eyelashes on Olivia. So you can see that I have finished the sweater, the body of the sweater, which becomes the body of the pig. And then there are 2 little ridge marks here.
Yeah.
And that those are where the arms get added on to.
Those ears are so cute.
Aren't they cool? You start those. There's a ridge. There's a purl ridge, just like there is for the placement for the sleeves. There's a purl ridge for the ears, and then you pick up 10 stitches below the ridge and 10 stitches above the ridge, and this is knit on 3 double pointeds, and so it comes up and it's actually flat. And then they say leave a 12-inch tail. And that's so you can go back in and you can sculpt the ears, basically by gathering them.
They're cute.
To give them some personality. So anyway, what I need to do now is I need to get the seam iron set up to steam the sweater, to let it lie down, which is what Susan Anderson says she does.
Mm-hmm.
And then I turn this to the inside, and I pick up the stitches, the purl ridges.
Right
on
above
the
the ribbing.
Right above the ribbing to start the pants.
That's cute.
So
then the sweater sits over the
pants. Yes. So anyway, that's where I am with Olivia. And
very cute.
Yeah. I have a feeling that some of the pain in my hands is coming from doing color work in such a tiny area.
Probably.
But I am very happy with the way the head was knit from the back to the front. So this was obviously a severe decrease, and then you go for 11 rows, and then you close it down. Really, I'm thrilled with the pattern and with the kit, and everything so far is pretty hunky-dory. I'm somewhat procrastinating getting the steam iron out just because it's so hot, but I really can't make progress anymore until I do, so maybe tomorrow I will do that along with my PT. So anyway, Olivia is moving along.
Mm-hmm.
What else do I have in here? Oh, here's what's left on that ball. So it's going pretty fast. My cat had cross stitch. That's the other thing I can do while my hands are kind of recovering from Olivia. So I have moved, you can tell I've made progress, I have moved my hoop up.
Yeah.
And I had just finished this boat last week, so I have done all of this kind of waterish stuff this week. So I am very pleased with the whole thing.
Yeah.
It is moving along, and I am just over the moon with it. So that's fantastic. I did nothing on...
My Boy Lollipop?
Yeah, nothing on that. There's only so much time in the day. Because I've also been reading. I got an email about a new Apple app, Libby.
You mean the
library
app? Yes.
Right, I'd had a previous library app.
I told you that Overdrive was now Libby.
Well, maybe,
Months
but I got
ago.
an email about it.
Okay.
And so I decided to download it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm on my 7th book.
Nice.
Yeah, so anyway, I've also been doing a lot of reading. Yeah, interesting books. One book I got, and then I realized I'd read it before. So
Always good.
Yeah.
Always good.
Went back to the end just to make sure I remembered it. But I finished a new book today, and I'll probably finish the second new book later tonight. Then I have to go back into the library. One of the things I don't know is whether I can share what I've read on my iPad with what I've read on my phone.
In the same app, yes.
Okay, because
I
when I go to physical, Kindle I can. So I may use Kindle for physical therapy and this for home. Anyway, I had a couple things that came in the mail.
So did I.
This is an old magazine.
It doesn't have a date on it.
Issue 29, The Knitter. But it is oldish. Printed in the UK, so no, it's not telling. But this dress pattern was what I was interested in. But I'm also very happy with several of the other patterns that are in here. Let's see if I can find. I love this men's pattern.
Yeah.
You know, I'm a fool for cables.
Yeah.
And look at that.
It's
just lovely.
It's a great cabled.
I think it would be good for anybody.
I was just saying cabled amazingness. It's gorgeous.
So here is the dress, which I think would make a great winter tunic. I like that a lot. And then further on in here, there was that thing that they were calling a T-shirt.
The shells.
Seashell T-shirt. And I like the fact that it has real sleeves instead of flutter sleeves, because that means that I can lengthen those sleeves and get real sleeves and bring them down to my elbow or something. If I want to make it for mid-fall.
I was going to say mid-seasons.
Or longer if you want to make it for the winter. Actually, I can wear long sleeves from about the end of September through May, just about. So I probably will this year, since I don't think we're going anywhere. There will be no winter break this year. In fact, after this, I have to call Nicole and see if she set up a date for me. See, there was another sweater. Oh, this is it, the Adina.
It was very you.
Looked pretty. Again, those cables. It's the only thing that's not me is the fact that it's made on huge yarn. It looks like it's worsted or bigger. Anyway, so this came, and I was very happy to have gotten that. We still haven't gotten the 2 things from Manhattan College because no one's back to work yet. They're supposed to go back on, I think, August 10th.
Okay.
And the office secretary said she'd look for me. She had no memory of picking this up at the post office, but I had gotten shipping notices. So it's the knitting pattern book and the one counted cross stitch are roaming around Manhattan College someplace. I'm just assuming they didn't go to my old office because someone else is in there.
I see.
And had been in there for a semester. Then I decided.
Last week we talked about this.
Another email that I got. See, I get all these really important emails.
Yeah, okay.
There was an email about the hydroponics. Gist is an online store. I'm not sure whether it has a physical presence or not, but they keep sending me emails about weaving. And so, this is going to be a 2-tone sweater.
No. Towel.
Thank you. Thank you. Where the base color is the off-white, and then the accent color is the gray, because on our boat, gray is for girls. And so I'm making myself a very large towel. It's not going to be fluffy.
Right. Because you didn't think you were.
I'm not up to that yet.
It's just going to be a very large tea towel, kind of.
Yes. But it will be, cotton dries people, dries
things.
Dishes, dries things very nicely. Right. So I'm going to be excited about this. Now the only
it will be more like a tea towel or a dish towel than a
fluffy
bath towel.
Yes. I'm working my way up to that.
Right.
I think I need to, in order to do a
fluffy
thing that's like that, I need to have another heddle on my rigid heddle.
Okay.
There's something that gives it depth.
Oh.
But I haven't warped this because I need a 12-dent reed. I've ordered the 12-dent reed from Woolery, and it was supposed to be here this week. Only I got an email from Emma. See, these are important emails.
Important emails.
That said something happened to their supplier. I hope nothing serious. But that it may be 3 to 4 weeks before I get the 12-dent reed. So I do have the pattern.
You can still warp it.
Right. Because I have the pattern, and I need to put 2.5 yards of
warp.
It's 540 ends, 20 ends, something like that, on the loom. You're right. I can put the dent. I can bring it through and have it loose. I'd rather not have it that loose. I mean, it has to go through.
No, but you can warp it on the board you have.
Yes.
And
I
then,
can set it up the length. Yes, I can do that.
And you can warp it, and then you can wait. You can.
Well, when you say warp it, I just think of warping it.
I meant
it on the
measure
loom.
the warp.
I can measure the warp, yes.
And then once you get the reed, you can
set it all up.
Yeah.
And I like the fact that it's only 2.5 yards because I think that will make it easier to get the tension on it since I'm doing this by myself. The other thing I ordered was a rattle and what they call helping hands. The rattle came with helping hands. Anyway, and I got another email from Craftsy that says someone has bought them.
Okay.
And they will be coming up with a new website.
Okay.
Where our craftsy things will be available.
Ah.
So this is really good news. I haven't seen any additional information about the website or anything else, but it may mean that instead of downloading all the classes, that we will be able to access the classes and maybe even take new classes at that point. I think I can still access the classes I had signed up for. I have a big beginner's class in weaving, so I certainly know how to measure out the warp, so I can do that, and I can get that started, so that would be fine. So that's my adventures in weaving, which I'm kind of looking forward to. In fact, I'm really looking forward to it. The towel that I'm going to be doing requires a 4 heddle. I have an 8 heddle machine, but it requires 4 heddles. So I think what I'll do is I'll pair 1 and 5, 2 and 6, 3 and 7, and 4 and 8.
I don't think you even have to. You can move the second set of heddles out of the way.
I think I need it for all the vertical pieces.
Okay.
The things that are holding the screws for the warp that's going through, I think I need those to hold 600 and some ends.
I don't think you mean double then. I think you mean that you'll repeat the pattern for 1 through 4 on 1 through 4, and then the next 1 through 4 you'll repeat on 5 through 8.
I don't know. We'll see. I was thinking that I would lift 1 and 5 at the same time.
Right, that's what I'm saying. But
Yes.
but the way you just described it was that you were going to double them, which means you were going to thread 1 and 5 through on the same thread. That's what doubling is.
No,
right.
Not doing that.
You're doing what I described the second way.
All right, if that makes you happy.
She's not doubling it, no.
Well, and what's interesting is you're 1/2ing it. So the first one is a 1, and then the second one is 2 threads, and then it's a 1 and a 2 and a 1 and a 2. So it's going to be very interesting. This will be an adventure. It's kind of like my hydroponics. And that's all I have. I have my boy lollipop. I should put this in there with it so I don't lose it.
Probably a good idea.
And I've done nothing with it, but, you know, we're moving along. Certainly
Yeah.
Circle Sweater's moving along. There's so many things I'd like to start back here.
I know.
But we do have a lot, I have a lot of cotton
Yeah.
back here. And some of it's rather nubby cotton.
Mm-hmm.
So turn around and pick up that multicolored pink. You have to go the other way, babe. That. I think this would make a great towel.
Yeah.
The warp I'm thinking of would be rather thin. But then this, as the weft, would make a really nice towel. So until I get to the point where I can make something that has the double side, I think it's a double-sided, and then you could go in between and cut it, and then they end up being like that anyway. They said it was, I was reading what you needed to know, and I was not up to that. So anyway, I have a couple skeins that are like this that I could make towels with.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so anyway, I may make these using a very simple, plaid weave on my rigid heddle. But it gives me a little more diversity in terms of what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, there is that. So exciting. So, what came in the mail for you?
So, Magpie.
Oh, I have those stitch holders. Remind me to show them. Do I have them?
As I choke on the water I just drank. So, Gigi Made It came out with a phrase a few weeks ago that we all know now is stand in the gap.
Yes.
And so there are t-shirts, there's all kinds of things. She partnered with Birdie Parker to do leather little trays for jewelry and stitch markers and things.
Oh, cute.
Yeah, unfortunately, I did not get one fast enough. They also how much work went into that was a lot. If you follow Verdi, you will know how much work she was doing to get those done and out as fast as possible, because those went fast and furious. So Magpie Fibers did a tumbler. It's an insulated metal tumbler for cold or hot, and they made them in orange and GG orange and in Magpie blue. So I got one in Magpie blue. I think it'll be good for when I go back to work, and also just in general, because I think it'll be...
Well, I'm finding my insulated things to be really good for ice water, which is what I have in here.
Yeah.
The water will stay cool. In fact, the ice will stay in there for a good several hours.
Yeah, I like my swell a lot.
So, one of the things I forgot to show you all last week were these stitch markers, and I can't remember who...
From Wee Little Ones.
They are jellyfish. They're supposed to glow in the dark. I have no idea if they do or not, but they make me smile, and so that's great. What they're doing there is I have to do 11 rows, up and down, before I start with the short rows. And so as I finish each row, I'm putting a place marker.
A jellyfish?
A jellyfish. When I run out of jellyfish, I'm doing some of the others that I have. And then once I get 11 of these things, then I know it's time to do my short rows. That seems to be working much better than anything else, because it's also making me smile as I do it, because then I can look at my jellyfish and all that kind of stuff. So I'm sorry to break in, but I had said I'd bring them up, and I knew I had them on my sweater.
Yes. So then, speaking of the community, Brew City Yarns. Unfortunately, the dyer behind Brew City, Tara, died last weekend due to complications from COVID. The family has announced, or has come out and stated that they believe it's due to the fact that she took her child to the emergency room, where someone without a mask and corona symptoms coughed on her multiple times. And she was wearing a mask. Unfortunately, she did pass away before her test could come back, whether it was negative or positive for coronavirus.
So sad.
So there is a GoFundMe set up to help her family. And if you have any of their yarns, knit something up in it and wear it very proudly, that is something I know it really hit home for me this week. In terms of the fact that this isn't over. I knew it wasn't anyways, but I got very upset with a few people that I know who were acting as if it was all going okay.
Here in New York, we're in stage 4.
And our numbers are not increasing.
Right. So people are feeling itchy.
Yes. Unfortunately, that is not the case with the rest of the country.
Right. And I have to admit that I've been sitting in my chair downstairs, actually Richard's chair that he's letting me have until I get my knee done, looking at vacations I'd love to take. I'd love to be in Maine at this point, because Maine is lovely at this time of year. When it is so hot down here in New York, Maine is great. It's warm during the day and cold at night, and it's great sleepy weather. And I love it. And I like Acadia National Park, where you can wander all over the place. But we're not going to be going. I've been looking at, trips all over the place. Where would I like to be? I'd like to be at one of the lakes near the Alps.
We're technically not welcome there anymore.
I know. I know that. But I've been there. And
not we as in Mom and I, we as in those of us who have
haven't acted
passports.
Up that badly.
Yeah, and those of us who have passports from the United States of America. That's what I meant by that.
Because the weather there is also warm in the daytime and coolish at night. Perfect for shawls.
A light sweater.
Oh, just great. But not going. But I can look up places I'd like to go to. I can make lists of places I'd like to be. your dad and I watched a show on, I think it was Acorn, about this woman who was taking walks in Great Britain. Well, their walk is going up a hill that's 2,000 feet.
Yep.
Yeah. It wasn't the one that we had climbed, which was Blencatha. And I didn't make it all the way to the top.
No.
Your father did. I found out they were coming back down the same way. So the last 200 feet, I rested while they went up to the very top. I was the only one besides your father who didn't fall on the way down. So it was a much better decision on my part.
Yes.
I got a respite, and I found the way that we were being taken up was a very scenic way, but not the easiest way. Right. The way we went down was the easiest way. So whether I would have been better that way, I have no idea. I will say that, as I mentioned before, doing my walking, it's helped my singing in terms of not breathy, hardly at all. Doesn't help me keep on pitch, but...
I love you. It doesn't.
No.
She tries really hard, y'all.
I know.
It really helps if she has someone else singing with her.
Yeah, I can go right with the person who's next to me.
It works much better. Yeah, it's much better. Dad has caught on to why sometimes I sing very loud sometimes.
And I'll just go right there. I'm right there.
Good, yes, yep. That was the note you were supposed to get to there.
I can do that. And hearing it by myself is just not quite there.
Which is why I'm so glad that
Which is why we're in a choir.
And why I'm so glad that Mark sends us a recording of him singing the melody.
It helps. Well. It helps. What would really help if I just had the notes I was supposed to sing. But we've also volunteered to do solos for the offertories, and I have a feeling that's exactly what it'll do for me. It's just, these are the notes we sing, Carolyn. And then overdub it later. Or underdub it or whatever. Anything else?
Well, I wanted to point out that Mom and I have mentioned in the past Bernadette Banner, who we've also linked down below because she did a lovely hand-sewn mask tutorial.
Yes.
Again, this ties in because wear your masks, y'all. Notice how we're always coming back to this because it's a...
The mask that you texted me about is a sport mask, and I'm having a little problem in physical therapy in that by the time I'm getting halfway through, my mask is collapsing onto my face. Oh. And with the exhalation, it's getting a little wet. And it's not easy when you're doing leg presses, and I'm pressing 50 pounds. So I'm really working here. And I'm bicycling, and I'm doing all that kind of stuff, and I really don't like the feeling of my mask collapsing on my face. So there is a sports mask that I can't remember who it is, but anyway, the company is closed for summer vacation.
Because they're European.
Yes, until the 28th of this month, so just 2 more days. And I expect to buy, one of the women at physical therapy, one woman who works there, has one, and she loves it. So, because then you put your filter in this mask, so it holds things, it comes to your face, but then it's away from your face. And she says that it's fantastic. So, I really can't wait till the 28th, because they have them in multiple colors. I could go camo. I could go pink paisley.
Oh my God.
I have a feeling pink paisley is what
I
I'm
have
going
a
to do.
feeling. I was going to say I have a feeling I'm going to get a selfie of you at physical therapy with your pink paisley mask.
Yes. There's black for those of you who want to go incognito. And I think there's another color. There's a total of 4 or 5 colors. Anyway, when I get it, I will wear it proudly and show you all and let you know where you can get it. But right now, no one can get it. I even looked on Amazon, and they'd say, oh, not available now. Well, you can email you, but it's cheaper if you go to the website. That part I did figure out. It was cheaper at the website. Yes, so that's my mask story. Yeah. I'm wearing my masks. I'm not liking when I'm an hour in and I'm got a wet mask to my face. That's uncomfortable. But it is,
Yeah.
Yes.
So, just this ties in. So Bernadette Banner is one of many Costubers, as they have deemed themselves, which is costuming YouTubers.
Oh. Okay.
And usually this time of year, they go to costume college right outside of LA. So this year...
Oh, I thought it was in Great Britain. What's
No,
in Great Britain?
That's another thing she's a part of.
Oh, okay. Yes.
But costume college is in the LA area, usually the last weekend of July. So this year, the Costubers have decided to put it on virtually. So you can find, I'm going to try and link the schedule below. If not, you can look up Costube something or other. It's like Costube Central or something like that on Instagram. And that is a like group account where they post the videos that are expected for like the next week if a costume YouTuber has let them know about it.
Okay.
So there's a whole bunch of live videos that are going to be YouTube lives, so panels, virtual panels with people, and also just premieres of videos about costuming. I have found it quite lovely over the last week to watch costumers. I don't know why, maybe, and it's kind of motivated me to work on,
Sewing.
things. Well, it's sewing, and so it's been motivating me while I'm knitting, and through the like slog of knitting.
Okay.
Because I know for my test knit, getting to the same height as the front, as the back, I was like, how many more rows? How many more rows? How many more rows? And then, once you pick up the neckline, you're like, okay, how many more centimeters? How many more?
Not that we're project-based. Right?
No, not at all. So I think that really helped me as well on the pull me over. It's a lot of just
I
knit
think
for this long.
What the costumers do is process.
Yeah.
So I know when I edge stitched your camisole, as I said, it was much more of a contemplative action than if I had done it on the machine. And on the machine, the thing would have slipped all over the place. This way, I could do it. I did the edge stitching by hand.
Yeah.
So all the top stitching, and I used the silk thread, and that worked out very well. And the camisole now looks really nice.
Yeah.
With the edge stitching. So, but I was actually done before I thought I was done.
Yeah.
And that it just was so soothing to do, and I wasn't looking to just get it done.
Right, and I felt...
And so it ended up being done before I thought it was done, and I think it turned out really well.
Yeah, it did. And I think I felt that way about getting the back done once I started putting on these videos where they were talking about process, and it really has made me definitely, maybe not sew more, but definitely work on some of my sewing, which is good because I do have a few things I want to make and that are in process and all that. So yeah, that is good. I just wanted to point out that about, and they're calling it CoCoVid. So them in their group, they call Costume College Coco.
Okay.
And CoCoVideo is what it's supposed to be for, but it's also Costume College COVID.
Oh.
Which is funny.
Because they're putting it online.
Yes, due to COVID. So they all were very amused by themselves. Which I
you
thought
gotta
was
be
adorable.
amused by yourself in some way.
Yes. So I'm finding it really interesting because I'm also learning a lot about fashion history while doing this, and you all probably remember if I talked about it. I don't actually know if I talked about it, but if you know me in real life, you know about this. I have an affinity for historical fiction, specifically Victorian London historical fiction.
Wouldn't want to live in that time.
No, wouldn't want to live there, but the description of fashions and all of that, and just, I'm kind of intrigued by it all, and it's just, I know the historical fiction realm romanticizes it, but it sounds lovely in terms of just...
Steampunk.
No, not really steampunk, but...
Okay. I was just thinking of the novels.
Yes.
Yes.
Kind of. But, yeah, so I've been learning a lot about that kind of, the fashions around that. And specifically, I've learned a lot from watching the different costumers. There's a lot of them who have done 18th century, so like the 1700s, Regency kind of outfits, and then they moved to the 1800s, or to the 1900s, so the 18s, so the 19th century, 1800s, there we go. And it's really interesting to see how fashions change, even just from, like, 1870 to 1890.
Yes.
And specifically the 1880s. Lots of change, y'all. Lots of change. We go from, like, kind of ball gowns all the time to more of a bustle to then a natural look, as they call it, with just a bum pad.
And a different look in the bodice.
Yes. Too. Yes. And they went from less of a corseted look to more of a pigeoned look. Both created by using corsets and padding. Not necessarily tight lacing of said corsets.
Right, no, it's
a lot
illusion.
of padding. Yeah.
It's visual illusion.
So I think that's very interesting. So if you're into that, or you, like I, have been furloughed, and you need something to occupy your time, go ahead and enjoy. I know I went through the schedule last night or this morning, I can't remember when, and I wrote up, a list of the things that I thought would be interesting. This is only the lives, because they haven't decided, like the different people who are hosting it on their YouTube channels haven't decided whether or not they're going to take them down and then like edit them in some way and then put them back up, or if they're just going to be up there. So I'd like to see them as they're happening. So yeah, I'm really intrigued. And a lot of them have actually worked as costumers on either Broadway or the London stage, or with TV or movies. So there's going to be a panel on that, and I thought that was very interesting.
Okay, and the British Virgin Islands are doing Facebook Lives about once a week. They have musicians, and yes, they are trying to advertise the various resorts, but there was also a woman who went to college in New York and doing fine arts, and so she was showing how to paint a picture. They've had several of the chefs from the various resorts do a cooking show, and so they
Can you tell Mom wants to go back to the BVIs?
I know. And they're archived on Facebook Live. So there's a lot of these places that are trying to keep our interests up, trying to enliven our days, and I really appreciate their sharing.
Yeah. So just wanted to point all those things out to you all. And just keep on keeping on. Keep those masks on. As we all know, Black Lives Matter and still matter. And, if you can.
Yes.
Stand in the gap.
That's right.
As best you can. So I think it's time for us to weave in our ends.
And we'll see you next week.
We will. Bye.
Bye.